Okay, so it's 3:40 on Wednesday. I am so tired and out of it that and I swear to God, I don't think it's the oh Lord, self concerned. I don't think it's the travel lag, whatever, jet lag or travel lagging thing, with the time change and whatnot. I think it's more, and see the better of portals. Just going over, we don't have all this bullshit with their fucking time control. Look at how they control and contain us, even in our fucking time. You get this time, you get this time, you go over there, you get this time. And you try, it's madness. I swear to God, I cannot believe some of this shit we've put up with. It's so absurd. But it's like, well, that's what life is. That's what we let it be, and that's what it is. Oh my God. So anyways, let me think. I kept on this stuff I was talking about yesterday. It kept going over my mind. It's like more in depth, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna be talking about some of this stuff. And then I saw some stuff last night. Here comes mom's little tiny dog. So that was one of the things. My mom's friend across the street, her husband's on hospice, and she's having a really hard time. So she asked if mom could come over and spend the night. Mom is boom there for her friends, man. And her friends are like that for her. This is mom's little dog. This is the one she took with her. It's like 4 pounds or something. This is the one that took with her. And so when she takes off, I was going to bed. I went to bed like at 7:30, and like I said, I don't think it's jet lag. I think they're spraying something. The dogs kept sneezing and stuff, and the dogs are really tired too. So I to me everything's the poison. So so she went over there, and anyways, that Belle never shut the fuck up. She sat up there screaming her head off, barking, and so I woke up at 10:30. Oh my God, I felt like I was drunk and had been asleep for like a half hour, and I felt like I was drunk and out of it sleep. I couldn't believe how out of it I was, and I look at the clock and it's 10:30. I was like, oh my God, the night's just getting started. So 11:30 came around, I was up again. And then, and that one I just heard her and she just kept barking and barking and barking and barking. So I was trying to go back to bed, just ignore it. And I just couldn't. So finally I go up there and she comes running out the door as fast as she can. And she comes tearing down here. I'm sure looking for my mom. But, anyways, she is kind of a little wussy girl if she doesn't have a person around. She's a pocket dog. And so I brought her, but then Gia, one of my mom's other dogs, she came running down too. So they came down and had a slumber party with us. And that Belle, the littlest one, she was all jacked up for a while, running, and she kept coming up and jumping on my face and licking it and stuff. It's like, dude, we're sleeping now. This is sleeping time. But anyways, it took a while to go back to sleep. And then I was sleeping, and then I started getting uncomfortable. I started noticing like, oh my God, I'm uncomfortable this way. And then I turn, I'm uncomfortable this way. It's like, oh shit. So now start waking up. And then Stella made a noise, and it like jolted me, kind of like it was something. I don't remember what it was, but it like jolted me awake. Now I forgot about that. That always makes me feel more out of it. So after my morning nap, I'll feel better. This is a temporary situation. It's nothing I need to worry about. So I just gotta go with the flow. So trippy too to me is like, I can't remember so many conversations. I can't remember so much stuff. And then it's always like, God, I hope I didn't say anything that's like, just go in the flow. And I don't know. Started thinking like, God, I hope I didn't say anything mean about anybody. You know? Because always, when family gets together, there's always shit talking. And see, and I was getting my feelings hurt when they were over there shit talking about me. But I proved them wrong. I came in like a wrecking ball. So anyways, let me see. But one of the things is, so there's some more of the stuff I'm going to talk about from yesterday because I was seeing it more and more and more. But one of the things was all the things that I hear, I always hear them opposite of or different than what I hear the people talking about what they hear. So they hear it a certain way and I hear it different. And so, talk about it. And so this one I'm going to talk about too. Because I find it very interesting. Very interesting. So, especially because you guys know what I've been talking about for years and how I've been waiting on this Freedom City situation. So, to me, it's like, cheers, bitch. So, hold on a sec. Let me drink this real quick. See, I have a little streak. I have a little, I don't know. I don't know. I gotta get more in I gotta leave off the bitches and go more with the sisters or something. I don't know. I need to make changes. We all need to make changes. That, I was real broken. I may seem like a great example of health and good mental health or something. No, I came from a very broken place. Just ask my kids. Okay, so hold on. Your kids will give you quite the reflection. Okay, so this lady, she had a blue check mark. I don't know who the hell she was. She, some influencer, I guess. So she was talking about, what Donald's done now. I mean, they're all caught up. They are caught up. I swear to God, I don't understand. I don't know how their media is spinning shit, but boy, when they start seeing the truth or however it plays out to show them the truth or whatever's going to go down, I can't see how they can't just be fuming at their media, just fuming at this fucking thing. But see that they have access. They can control your mind through this manipulation, through the media. It's like it's so in depth of this stuff, how this place works and what you're kind of like breaking free from. And yeah, see, it's different times of breaking free. Like during this time, we're breaking free from this high-tech indoctrination, programming, and we come in running a program. We come in with limited sight only as to what our program is, what we're here to experience, or it's like so much of the experience is like the vibration of experience that goes out into the universe. So it's so bigger. But anyways, this girl, before I go off on all that stuff, so this girl, she's like, you know what he's done now, because this is the worst thing I've ever heard. And this is only going to get worse. I don't remember telling me. She's like freaking. All these people are always freaking. And they think everything's so real. And they believe what they're told about this everything. Everything. I wonder if there's anything that they question, really. Because my daughters, all my daughters are, my whole family is all very, left-leaning. And so, I don't know. There's so many things that they just don't know. Just like, censorship is so huge. And it was like, my sister-in-law was like, what? What? I had no idea. I was like, yeah, keep off that fucking Google, man. And my daughter, or my sister's all Snopes. I was like, when I found, because every motherfucking thing I used to say to her, and especially when it started when I first started waking up, and I would say stuff, and people thought it was so wackadoo. And then when I started seeing more truth about this place, and I just start telling people like about the vamps and stuff, and they are, oh my God. I was one of the things my sister was making fun of me while she was there, was because I believe bankers are a bunch of cannibals. It's like, just wait and see. You decide. So, anyways, but so when I would say stuff back then, and I wasn't going into that, I wasn't saying all that, but I think it was more the money and control or something. I don't know. I'd have to go back and review the tapes because I can't remember. So, and you can go back, but sometimes like, you know, it's not, when we go back, what is so trippy is we don't all remember things the same. And where it's like we're kind of in different realities all the time. Like, it's so weird. Like, I could totally go off on that, but it's like really hard to explain how I see it. But it trips me out because I've had this happen so many times, and I'll be talking about something with my kid or one of my kids or my mom or somebody of a specific event, and it didn't play out the same for everybody. They don't remember it the same. It's so trippy. Like, I don't even know with my mom with this mirror is a Celestine prophecy. I tried to ask her one time, and I don't remember what she said, but it's so trippy. That was such a big moment in my spiritual direction. Okay, so anyways, back on this girl. I skipped off something else, but back on this girl. So she is very upset because now Donald is going against DC. So see, they don't have any idea about what the DC, any of that, and she's like the district, but they don't understand what the district is all about. And I said it in comments. I don't know if somebody is just having a little gas attack in here or what, but it's kind of stinky. Okay, so she, and they all have eaten except for Belle, and I don't know where that little thing went. She's like a little squirrel all over the place. And she climbs. And she'll go at your feet and whine and cry until she can get up into your chair so she can use it to get up on a table or something. She's a little billy goat. Except she can't climb straight up. She's got to, you know, try and get some assist sometimes. And she's a little bitch about it. She just does this. She's relentless. It's like, shut up, Belle. Oh, small little package, but a loud little. I couldn't believe how loud she was last night. So, anyways, this girl, because I was so glad. Fuck, I was so glad my mom took her the last time. I was like, oh God, I had this the whole time. So, but now I know, just bring her down here with me. So, anyways, because she's fine now. It was just that kind of bridge moment where she first got down here and she's looking for her mom and she's going wacky, and then she was so glad to have another human, human, so that she could feel safety, I guess. And then she calmed right down, even when they were all up and been doing shit and going out and outside and eating. And at one point, Archie and Max even got in a brawl out here, and Stella went crazy to stop them. And she still was just laying in there sleeping. It wasn't until I sat down here and started talking that she was like, comes out. So, anyways, but she kept everybody else up all night. So maybe she went back in the tent and went back to bed. I don't know. She's so small, I can't see her. But anyways, so this girl, she's like, so Donald is something with the district, or with DC. He's changing the rules or something, and all the people that live there, these poor people, what he's doing. And so he's taking away their rights or something, and he's selling it to one of his friends, this other billionaire, and they're putting in a freedom city. I was like, hallelujah. I was like, fuck yes. Like, I guess, look at that. How big or way can you get, like, attention? Because when he was talking about his first Freedom City before, it was in Tennessee. It was like Memphis. And you'd think everybody would jump on, like, Freedom City? Hell yeah. What's a Freedom City? We gotta be free there? Everything free? Well, yes, as a matter of fact, it is. And so, anyways, but these people are like, this sounds horrible. This weird. And, you know, like, this is going to be how we look at the 15-minute one. That's how they're looking at the freedom ones. So and we have to, we're going to have billionaires, like this billionaire who's buying all the land and opening this Freedom City or something, which all this stuff is, you know, it's all just pretend. Because you can't own the land. It's just, but it's like the way that people have to understand things. So they have to play it out in a certain way. And even when you start doing fantastical things like, oh, we're going to buy all this land, we'll pay for it, but then we're just going to give it to everybody. Then it's like, so they haven't seen it play through yet. You know, they're on hole 1 and they don't know what's going to happen in hole 9, and we do. And so, and somewhere along the way, they're going to get shocked by seeing, unless the rapture happens and they go before they see. But see, that's the problem I was talking about yesterday, was the people who have been sick leaving before they awaken. We're still in that state of being that they could still be manipulated and be taken. But if they were taken and stuff like that, it would have been because they signed on to it or something. It would be they were supposed to stay like that. You can't be like, I signed up to wake up, but then I couldn't. No, because whatever you know where you're going to be before you get there. And so it's just when we're here, we forget that we have that capability to see where we're going to be. And then even when you can see, you can't see everything that's going to play out. So it's just like, it's like, that's this trust, this building the trust, that, trust fall into the universe. Like, I trust it's going to be okay. I came here for this. There's a reason I'm here. And everything happening is happening for me. It's for this reason, to help show me. And there's a purpose to it and stuff. And when you look at the purposes and when you try and understand them, it's clear to me. It's growth and expansion. We heal through, you can hold on to trauma or you can heal it. So it's the healing, the going through things like loss and trauma and stuff, and then going through the process to fix yourself from it, to break free from the patterns that it creates. That is your gold medal. That's your what you're here for. It's what you're here because that's your expansion. But there's no judgment. Like it is here. This is something we play out to see how horrible it is. But there's no judgment in the higher realms because they've learned not to. And there's no reason to. And that's why you have to learn it. You can't just go up there and join the crowd. You can't be sitting there, you know what I'm saying? You have to match that. And so you have to match that vibration of not being judgmental so that you can be in that vibration. So anyways, when you start to look at this, but then you also, when you go deeper into, who and what you are is an energy, and all the times, even of what we know of, there's so much of that we don't know. I mean, just think of all these other land masses, all these other planets, all these other places, all these other realities, the inner earth, everything, where there's all this other life happening, and we don't even have an awareness of all that. And so the universe is huge and ever expansive with all sorts of opportunity of experience. And so see these people being taken to go to the next place where we could look at it as like, oh my God. But see, that's the level of the game. That creates a whole new story. Like it creates a whole new movie. It's part 2. So it gives us another thing. It gives us people another thing to play out. So go into another place to continue playing out these things. If it's control, and it can be in different ways now. Like we were at this point of the technology, like they were using the TV to program us. And it's so trippy is once you see the truth, once you know the truth, is how much they were putting the truth in our face. And but they were also like directing us through programming and indoctrination is how to look at things and not to see, like they programmed it into people that what they were doing wasn't real. That's the fantasy. That's a movie and stuff, when that was really happening. And then they program people on how to look at other people. And there's so much in the movies, like making fun of different people. And so you just got to pay attention to how, they create division and biases and stuff. That's why, when you start realizing your own, you don't have to be so hard on yourself. You just, that program, but you're here for that purpose, to go through that program. And then once you see you see this higher point of spirituality to existence, then you start realizing, like, you're eternal. Like, you've been around a long time. You've been through lots of different places. You come from different places. There's no telling how old you are. And as an energy, it's like, in this place is an illusion. You really see more of who and what you are when you're out of this. This shows you aspects of self, kind of. This is like where you can see the facets of a diamond. But it's like, then, yeah, that's cool. Because, like, if you think of it like this is, the different lives that you live in, stuff like that, gives you these different facets of a diamond to see your reflection of self. But when you come out of that, you're in there, you're in it. And so, in all those refractions, give you multiple ways of understanding. See, so you're expanding your higher self all the time through your experience. And that's kind of cool. So, because I just saw it kind of like a video game or something, like everything that we do that's in our higher self just goes up and up and up and up. It's like gain points or something. So anyways, so you're ever expanding, and even though we can't feel it here, and but that jewel is the you, and that is your energy, and it's like this pulsation of your energy. And the pulsation is kind of like, it's like this thrive to life. It's like an excitement. It's an excitable energy. And it's so much, it's like like a real lazy person trying to harness a real hyper person's energy, because they don't want to get up and clean their house. So then they get somebody to do this hyper person, but it's, manipulating them to do it, because this person has all the energy. It's funny, because in that type of manipulation, the person who is all hyped up and doing all this stuff is getting the most benefit if they figure out how to see, because not only are they getting more physical activity, which is better for us. Like, think about, like, I was seeing it like this kind of old-timey machine with these like wheel things and stuff, and when they're all fired up and they're all going with all their pulleys and stuff like that, but then when it turns down, it kind of gets stiff and it doesn't move so well. It starts getting rusty and stuff. So see, we want to keep in movement. We don't want to become all rusty. And stuck. But it's so weird how macro, because it is like that. And so so you want to keep in movement. So the person who is using another person, they are only hurting themselves. So, and then the person who's doing too much, if they stop and think about, their boundaries, if they're being used or whatever, then that can help them grow. So there's benefits. There's benefits in all the different ways that the shit plays out. It just depends on how you look at it, and when you're in the life pattern, it can be overbearing and hard because it's all consuming. But when you come out, then you're a much higher vibration, and you're eternal, like you are. Where some of these people want to worship gods and goddesses, but you are the same. It'd be like you're a cheerleader on a cheer squad, and you just think all the other cheerleaders are so much better than you. It's like you're the same. You're all equal. And so, it's another soul to soul. It would be like you know, what don't be putting it on me. You know, it's like, that's your business, that's your stuff. I'm not your God, I can't fix it. And so it's kind of like, you know, and there's a certain you know, like the souls don't just go into that, like we're breaking this because, like, yeah, you can't exist in that vibration. So all these people in this sense of idolization, big one, because there's so many people that literally idolized celebrities, and then they even started creating regular, you know, influencers and stuff like. And then so you have the influencers, the idolization. Oh yeah, and then the savior all the savior stuff. So there's a lot of stuff that is here for people to see it in more in depth. So it's gonna be shown. See, that's what, you know, the show playing out is showing us things to see them more in depth, and we're programmed into what we're supposed to see and experience. And but anyways, so people are breaking free from that kind of stuff because, yeah, that you're up in the heavens and you're, you know, going around like a puppy, you know, somebody, well, where's my God? Where's my God? Oh, he's the guy sitting, no, there's nobody sitting over there waiting for you to sing to him. I mean, that's low vibration. That's like down here, what they do. But yeah, you don't go up there and there's some spirit like, I'm better than everybody else. You guys come over here and sing at me and stuff like that. It would be, you know, if you wanted to think about it as God in the heavens and stuff like that, it would be more like it's all the angels are the heavens, and their singing is the God. So it's not, you know, it's not like there's somebody there to fix everything for you or fix you. Each soul has to raise their own voice. They have to, you know, raise their level, their vibration. And in order to raise your vibration, like I said, you have to leave out a lot of things that we carry. But that, to me, is part of the game. We come in, it's like a cleansing. But there's also a sense of a karmic trap where people get in and they get so caught up in this stuff and they just keep creating karma, and then they have to keep going in and fixing this stuff. But really there's like a natural order, kind of like there's natural order to the universe. But I just don't think that, you know, whereas we have all these people, I'm never coming back, I'll never be reincarnated again, I'll never do. When you're out of your body, you don't like that. And I think it's like, let me think, because I can kind of see like this analogy kind of thing, because it's kind of like, it's just like seeing something one way when you're there, and then when you get out of it, seeing it completely different. And so if you've ever had that experience, like I had that maybe more than once in my life, where I thought it was one way. Well, just like this trip I just did, I thought it was going to be one way. And I was like, I'm just going to go there. They're all going to just think I'm crazy. But, you know, I'm categorized crazy, hippie, weirdo person. And so then I, you know, started seeing, well, what is I'm doing? And that is what I want to put out. And about the healing, mind, body, spirit, I'm all about, you know, mind, body, spirit, and the healing, and this opportunity, and this awakening, and this heading for a new age, and choosing the door we're going through, and what it is that we're here to create, and not being swept up in a ship and taken to another hellhole. So where these people are setting up camp. Yeah, when they say they're going in the inner earth and stuff, see, they could be setting it up, because it could be a whole nother realm. They can take them on ships and go in the inner earth, go through what, because it's going through portals and shit. I mean, everything is so much more different than what people think. But if you think of the inner earth as under our feet, underground, but there's a lot more. That's why a lot of these sinkholes and stuff opening up, is to give the concept, so people can start understanding, like, this is a honeycomb. Think about caves and stuff. It's like a honeycomb, and there's any kind of plateau where a reality, everything that's alive has a reality. Bacteria has a reality. Everything. So the so anyways, the oh yeah, because what I was gonna say, because these people get all caught up in like the elite, and they've got their underground bunkers and all that stuff, and I was like, fuck, man, where would you want to be if the earth starts eating itself and drowning itself? I wouldn't want to be in a bunker under the dirt. Like, hell no. Like some of these, like in Turkey, that one earthquake thing that I was talking about the other day, where I said all those people died, and it was like so many people didn't even notice. That's why there has to be such impactful things to all these different places, because we don't really notice what goes on all over the place. But this one, I mean, there was huge land splits, and that's happening. There's an old cowboy guy in Texas who keeps monitoring. They fuck with his videos too. He keeps showing the ground is splitting in Texas, and it's like a big gap, and it's like totally in Turkey, and they were having the earthquake. Then and there was a lot of stuff going on at the time, so I don't remember if this is two different events. It seems like it was one, because the earthquake started going, and all of these buildings and everything was like falling. It killed a whole bunch of people. They were still looking for people, digging stuff out and everything. And then it was like, it seemed like it was like that night or the next day or something, and people, or maybe it was a different area or something. I know it was a different area because this was more like city, and this other part was more like out in the burbs. And then it really more like out in the farm country. And then it and everybody was in their beds, and they said it was this really loud noise and this shaking or whatever, but the ground split. It made a huge like a valley. And the people were like, because it was touching, and then it just like split open, and it was like a big huge gap between the sides. And at people's house, like a whole bunch of shifts happened. I don't even remember because this was a few years ago. But anyways, so if you were in a bunker and that stuff was going down, like that would be a wild ride. But I feel like some of these things, like they would be crushed, or they like their door would be blocked. They'd never get out. They're gonna be stuck. Like if they have their little cave thing to go down and go into their thing, it's gonna split from it. So there's no hiding. You think, oh, Zuck, he's not gonna face anything. He's got his bunker. He's down there hiding. Well, this is above the pay grade. Like, this is the universe. This is where what goes around comes around. And so, yeah, you're trying to run from your shit, it's gonna find you. So if you're in this bunker and you got this split apart, something will happen. You get closed in. I don't know that they can all crush, but also, are they really made to not be crushed? I mean, were they trying to make them, Armageddon proof, besides just to hide out after the nukes or something, which they've got that whole threat going on a full speed ahead. Then, which, they can totally do that. They're just going to town talking about some, weapon, just their, the war machine nonsense. So, and besides that too, I was like, do these people, if have their bunker, do they have like a submarine harness to it? So if the water comes in and goes way, way up, that they have a way to get out? Because what are you going to do if you're bunker and you come out and you're in the ocean now? Were you prepared for that? And I don't think you can swim your way up. I mean, the universe is going to take care of it. Just like I've said a zillion times, there's no reason to get revenge. There's no reason to do anything. And some of the ways that karma spins around is way more brutal. Like, I wouldn't have hunted down an anesthesiologist and dismembered him and put him in a burn pile, which we still don't know if he was. I mean, they may have been in the papers at some point, but if his son had killed him, or if he had died naturally, because there was at some point too, I think he was one of those doctors that was an addict, was doing drugs or whatever. So he could have been doing drugs and drinking and died, and then his son was like, what do we do with him now? So he decides to just dismember him and not clean up the mess. Oh, good. And then just do a burn pile. But the son was obsessed with fire. That's what, started the domino towards the insurance fraud, apparently, supposedly. But he could have been doing insurance fraud before that. A lot of people, if a door opens and it is, even if it's full of criminal shit, if they think what the benefit, well, I could get this much money if I do this, then some people are like, man, I'll do whatever and don't give a shit. They just want the little, I just saw it, like a pot of gold in the little leprechaun, because you take their pot of gold and there's a little, there's an aftermath. You think you're going to get away with it, but it doesn't work that way. It's, you can't just be greedy and go against your own people. And a lot of people are about to find that out. And so there's a lot of spiritual lessons here, and they're going to be harsh because people were cut off from their spirit. And so the lessons are going to seem a lot more intense. And, but they're all, like, I don't know, to me it seems kind of like basic things, you shouldn't do. And it's like written in our hearts. It's just like people forget or something. So, but anyways, they're going to be reminded. But anyways, so these people who, are in their bunkers or going in, because I hear these people saying, oh, they're going to get away with that. And there's no reason to get revenge. The universe is, it's like you could think of it as got your back. And they'll take care of it for you. And it's going to be harsher than what you would think. It's like, yeah, but see, it wasn't just me. He obviously had fucked over a lot of people. And so he'd probably done a lot of bad stuff, and it caught up with him. And so then he gets a brutal ending. But, how brutal really is it if he just fell asleep at the table, drugged out? But it's still, his ending story to those left behind is gruesome. And everything is a story. Everything is just a story. It's like, we can try and pretend like this is real, but it's just a story. It's just a story. You're just playing one of the parts in the story. And, but a lot of people, you can get real caught up in a story. You can get real caught up in a movie. You can get real caught up in a character. And, but you have to find the value in your character. And, Crystal, what I was thinking, too, about that girl, because I kept thinking about it yesterday, and I liked what you had thought of. I was like, that is so true. You don't get what you want, so you go to the internet. So, because people are attention-seeking all the time. People need this constant pat on the back. You're okay, you're okay. You're beautiful, you're okay. But it's just sad that we're at that point where we just need that stuff. But that is prime for needing a savior and stuff. So, but when we learn our own value, we don't need that. You don't need somebody to tell you you're okay, because you already know it. You know you're good. And then all the triggers where things make you feel like your value is not what you think it is, when you work through the triggers, then they'll keep coming. They'll keep coming. I can sit here saying this, and then I'll get hit with another one. They will come, and they will level up. And the more they level up, the deeper your wounds that you're letting go. So, so what I was thinking too was that that the universe was trying to teach her to quit being shallow, whatever the interaction. Because I was like, well, if it was that this girl said, well, you're ugly, so it's hard to imagine somebody compliment you and you just, that's like Mean Girls shit or something. But I don't know. There's lots of people out there just doing weird shit. There's no doubt about that. And so, but I was thinking, if, so the girl, she's focused, because why do you even need to tell this person they're pretty? It's nice to say nice things to people, but we don't need to, I mean, because then what about this girl over here? You know? So she feeling left out because you're not saying she's pretty, so she can go home and be like, well, I'm not pretty. That girl over there, that's what's pretty. And it's like, it's only how each of us see. It doesn't really matter. And so I was thinking, you know, in her story, whatever she's here to learn or grow, I was thinking, I wonder if it had to do with this superficial, shallow concept, and the universe is trying to promote her to see, like, that it doesn't, you know, the outside doesn't matter, and don't focus on it. Like, who knows what, if this girl's constantly throughout her life been looking at everybody as they're prettier than me, they're prettier than me, they're prettier than me. And even asshole people, if she lets them be around her because they're good looking. And so she's very, because I know people like this, you know, real shallow like that, like very surface level. Very much like, well, if they look good, they must be good. And so I just want these good looking people around me because then people would think I'm good. And it's the whole thing. And so if, you know, you just don't know people's patterns, what they're trying to break. But I definitely thought, like, the universe, for something to happen like that, you know. But then there's that whole other level, because anything can be happening. Yeah, she could be totally manipulating people on the internet just to get them to say nice things to her. You know, it could be anything. But in the situations, I just say, look at it from this, you know, if you're interacting with the universe, you know, because that's what you're doing. It's just, you just don't have awareness of it. Some people don't have awareness of it. But once you get into the awareness of it, then you become like the sunglasses people, and you know how to play the game. You know what's going up, you know what's up, you know what's going on, and you know what's up in the situation. So the game changes. And so that to me is the leveling up, and we're in this leveling up. And so the more you can pull free from letting the game play you, and you learning how to play the game, then yeah, learning how to play the game, but play the game in like this way of you know, playing it back on them, kind of, you know, like how but it's not like in a revenge or kind of way. I don't know, kind of like, you know, like the I'm not going to pay your bills for you, so I'm not going to pay your stuff. But you know, before, when people used to do that, they created debtor's prison. You know, luckily we're not in that point in time anymore, because that'd make it a lot more rough to not pay them. Like, I can just go out and just be, you know, harassed by collection agencies, and they can send me stuff and say, well, pay this and pay that, and I'll say, oh, no, no, I'm not. I'm waiting for the Freedom City. In the comments, I went in and read the comments on that girl's post. All the people, oh my God, he's so horrible, he blah, 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 blah. It was like, oh my gosh, there's so many people who just don't see what's coming. There's a lot of people, you know, that don't see what's coming. And we'll see. You know, I think it's going to be exciting, but I mean, I don't want it to seem like it's what's going to be exciting, you know, when, because hopefully this isn't, you know, all these people dying or whatever. But still, to me, that just doesn't make sense until the people have some kind of awakening event, something. Because even if they're resistant to it, there's something. Even if they're taken in ships over to another world to continue playing out this, whatever it is, savior complex or greed, lust, you know, because lust and stuff plays out in the fetishes, and everybody just have sex with everybody and stuff. And you know, and then for the soul, though, there's certain freedoms to getting to come in and experience some of this stuff. So you don't want to, you know, because there's real experience there. And we can't sit here and judge experience, because that creates limitation. And so it's the superficial side of us that judges it. When you get into, you know, the level up in the game, and you see, then you can see the purpose behind things. And it doesn't have, and it's things playing out. So greed, lust, all the things, like I said, that in the rule books that are written inside of us, you know, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. But when you come in to do it, it is like there's an experience behind it. And in the universe, like I've said, it doesn't want limitations on experience. It wants everything to play out. It wants every experience to be had. And the more creation and more experience is the excitement of the universe. And when you start creating limitation, that is control. Why are you trying to control others? And that's where we're trapped in this disease, this bubble of control. And how the control just gets tighter and tighter and tighter. They control what we watch. They control our viewpoints. They control the economy and how we live. They control how we move, where we go. You know, just like the airplanes and stuff. Because I know that we have way faster ways to travel. And I was listening to David Wilcock, I don't know, it was a couple of years ago or something, I think. And he was talking about, he was starting with the hover cars or something. I don't know if he's really doing any of that. You see, I don't know. It seems like some stuff, but everybody's going through awakening, and some people are doing it more in a public way because he was already a public figure. To some people, like every public figure is only a public figure to some people. Everybody doesn't know, like, there's tons that are other people's, and I don't know them, tons that influence people, and we don't, whoever influences you, you kind of become a part of their information. So anyways, the Doc Holliday, so anyways, the people, okay, hold on. This is when I would take a drink of tea. How long have I been talking? 46 minutes. Sometimes it seems like I've been talking hours. Okay, so the people, the vibration, the splitting apart. So it doesn't make any sense to me for the vibration, for the people to not go through their awakening to the thing. Even if they're going to go somewhere else and continue to play out lust and greed and whatever, gluttony or whatever, all the things that are playing out. But there's lots of souls that are here to pull free from these certain things that have a hold on them. And then, I would say, okay, so I would say, even if you are playing out a certain thing, you think, oh man, I'm doing so good, and these other fucking people, these other pervs or whatever, because people get so judgy on other people. That doesn't mean you don't have, in other lives, that you haven't been trapped in lust or whatever. To me, it is when you have had the experience, that's what creates the part of you that's not judgmental, because a part of you knows how you can get there. I know how people can get there. And so then it's but see, that's the part of like these beings, what you think of like these ancient beings, because they've played out all these things. They've learned to not be focused on the stuff in the game, as to let it go. And so they don't judge, because it is, it's like that they've had every experience. But that's just one kind of, like, it is kind of like, I do see it sometimes like councils. Like there's councils or something. There's groups. And that kind of becomes like philosophies. It's kind of like, because everything's a micro, macro. And like I was talking about with the geometry thing. So when you go up to a bigger one, and then these councils are kind of like where that comes from, these things. So, but it seems like there's councils. And it seems like there's councils for, like there's councils kind of like how we set it up here with like the UN or something. So then different districts can send a representative, and those councils are created so everyone has a voice or something. But it's not as it's not controlled. It's more respected. So things in the natural order, to me, the tribes represented more of the natural order of the universe. And that is why the controllers, the church in the ground, came in to disrupt that, because they are this other energy, this other kind of entity. It's all about the control. And so they needed to control everything here, but see, we still come. It doesn't, like, we know ahead of time. We're not here and then we just find out. Like, we know ahead of time before we come here. And so we know what we're walking into. We just don't know what it's going to feel like until we get here. And then plus we have the added thing of, like, you put on the costume and you forget who you are. And so then you go through the experience to play out this person. But that person gives you another facet, another way of seeing things. And through their experience, it gives you wisdom. And so these higher beings that are, I would say, well, we would look at them like archangels. They are more of like, the souls that had gone through tons of experience, and they don't sit in judgment, but they're in that higher vibration because they don't look down on people. They don't look down. Looking down on other people keeps you restricted in your vibration. And so it's through experience. Because just think of how, when you've heard somebody being judgmental on something, I just don't understand how they could do that. I just don't understand. I don't. And then that's why you're judging them. So then, and what I've seen in judgment is then you go and have that experience. So you watch what you judge. So, but also, that's a development, and you want to develop into this, high vibration archangel status kind of perspective. And I'm not saying that we have angel, like we have a status like that, but I'm just saying in this conceptualizing in a three-dimensional, like, character representation of existence, that's how I would say what we think of when we think of archangels as these beings that are all this loving and stuff. But there's beings of that status, but I think they're like around in different planets, having different experiences, because you got to be thinking that what it is, infinity, like, I mean, how long could you do nothing? Like these people who, oh, I'm never coming back. I'm never going to be reincarnated again. It's like, well, I think if you are just stay energy for infinity, you would kind of lose track of yourself. I think it kind of gives us a conscious kind of effort into understanding ourselves, gives us what we consider to be alive. So it's what life is figuring out who you are and what you are. And so it gives you opportunity. So, and like I said, I think the people who sit there and think that, they're just caught up in something. And when they come out, they wouldn't be like, no, I'm not doing that again, because you don't look at it the same way. And so you don't have the same kind of fears of it and stress about it. And then that's also that purgatory kind of energy, these other realms where I think, that we can, it's like a place where people who have passed over, and so like we interact with people in this realm when we're asleep, when our consciousness goes into this other realm. So, and that is, I think that kind of realm, I think people think of it as like 4D or something, but there's a realm that you can go to where when you got troubles, I got troubles, because you can't take that energy into the heavens, the higher vibration, because then that would be like a disease coming in there. But it's like, it is a natural block, just like the firmament. And that's what's so crazy, is these people trying to bust through the firmament. It's like, it's so weird. That it's by vibration. And so the and it's not by just vibrating it through it. It's like you have to match the vibration. You can't move past a vibration if you don't match it. And the way to match it is, everything to grow is that you have to go in. So you have to go into yourself. You have to look at yourself deeper in order to evolve, in order to go up in your vibration. So you do have where you can go more and more places and stuff. But see, that's why when you start going up higher and higher and higher, then you it's through all this experience, and through the experiences you lose judgment. Because you go through so many experiences, and you can see, like, you don't judge people, even the most horrific crimes, the most horrible things. And to us, even, we can get really caught up, like the horrible one going on right now, which just so happens to be in this state too. It's really sad. His mom has custody of her 3 girls, beautiful little girls, and the dad is a homeless druggie, and I don't know, somehow he got some kind of a visitation thing, and they were supposed to just be 3 hours with him, and they never came back, and now they never are coming back. And he's on the run, or he's either hanging from a tree somewhere. They haven't found him. The last I heard, they hadn't found him yet. And people are devastated. Girls on the internet crying and stuff, like, because they found the girls now. And now they're after him, not for taking the kids, but now because they believe he's the one who ended things for him. It's just sad. The mom, people are so devastated over this poor mom. Just lost all her daughters in such a horrible situation. And it's just like, oh my God. And it's just so wild. Like, people can't wrap their heads around, like, that people would come in for this kind of stuff. But it's like storylines, and the storylines are constantly flipping in characters, and that's why you can't be like, well, he's the bad guy, she's the good girl. It's like, it's way more complex, and so we can't just go in and be the ones judging all that stuff. But to us, but there's a reason also. The stories help us identify ourselves. So, yeah, and right now it's like the assist program to the development of morals, because they've been, trying to deplete the morals here, cut people off from their inner knowing of the rules. Even in this big spiritual awakening, some of these people are still so stuck in ego, and they start coming up with, but the universe has its own set of rules, and they're inside you. And so, but I already said, I mean, it totally tripped me out when I realized, like, people are not murdering because the book told them. What? That tripped me out so bad. I was like, but it's inside you. Like, you don't do that because you know in your heart that is not right. And I know there's lots of people who do. But when you start realizing there's people who are just holding themselves back because of the book, like they really want to, but the book says you're going to go to hell, it's like, oh, dang, we want to keep them thinking they're going to hell. Otherwise, we turn into a free-for-all. The purge starts happening because these people don't know how to handle their anger. They don't know how to handle themselves. And so, and they get caught up in revenge or whatever. This movie was one of those stupid-ass comedies again. MacGruber. We're watching this movie, MacGruber. It was from 2010, and it's a Saturday Night Live movie, so it's all these characters from Saturday Night Live doing this MacGruber. And I didn't watch MacGyver, but I know who he is. I know, it was some show, and he could fix everything. He was like this, you know, super capable guy. You know, you take a toothpick and make a bomb or something. I don't know. He'd do all this crazy stuff with just household things or something, I think. Anyways, but MacGruber is, you know, the doppelganger or something to him. He's the supposed to be like that kind of thing, but this guy's like a total doofus. So, but now what was I going to say? Got the point of why I was going to, who it was I was going to say this thing. But what was I talking about? Being capable. I can't remember. I have to see it again. But to me, it was like, you have to tell, like, I have to tell it what it is that I'm talking about. Even though it takes me off from the thing I'm talking about. But so, but I may see it again. I'll see it again at some point. But anyways, but that movie was so stupid. And, but you laugh at some of this most stupid stuff. And it was like, God, it had a lot of pervy stuff too. So much pervy stuff. Jeez Christ. And, let me think back what I was even talking about. So, your vibration, you're going through different lives. I don't know what was pulling me in with MacGyver or MacGruber or whatever. But anyways, so raising your vibration and getting stuck. But you're not really ever stuck because this isn't our real world. So you can't. It's already getting light out, isn't it? That's light. Yeah, it's weird. It's I'm dying to see this red Kachina, red Nibiru, whatever. And what was that? It was a show. Somebody was showing a clip. Wasn't The Simpsons? What was it? If I could see it more clear. But they, in the show, the Nibiru, the red kitchen, the whatever it was, comes and hits into the planet, which has a huge ending. Whatever this was that they were saying, maybe it was, I don't remember what it was, but then they said that it's the return of the Anunnaki, and they come in, but think of it not as just really hitting into the planet, making the planet blow up, but hitting into our reality and changing our life. So a new beginning, an ending to the false world that we lived in, and a new beginning into the truth. And so, I swear this red planet thing, and I mean, it could be their ship, and it's been coming and coming and coming and coming and coming for a long time. And it would always get here right when it's supposed to get here. But time would not be the same to us. Like to us, it could be, it's been coming for years, but this change has been coming for years. And to them, it could just seem like, you know, real quick. Like all these where we look out into the sky and we see all these stars and all these with their really ships and beings and stuff like that. When we see all those, you know, they're just up there every night. And I think that they also, in the illusion of the sky or something, I think that they had maybe it was this guy. It was a video. It was a guy from like the 70s or something. One of these whistleblower kind of guys or something. Oh, I'd have to look at that video again. But I think he was the one who was saying, because they had showed him something about, maybe I'm getting two different things mixed up. Because I remember he was talking about that he freaked out when they showed him about they call not called Starlink, but something like that. But it was the Blue Beam, the fake world up there. And he said when they showed him, it was a ship, and he thought it was a real ship, but then he saw it was an illusion. And then they said that then he saw, like, boy, they could really trick the people. So then they did it to the general public with I think it's called the Phoenix something, this Phoenix sighting or something. But it was like a place where a whole tons of people saw the ship. But he said it wasn't a real ship. It was a hologram. And then they did the War of the Worlds, and that was when Orson Welles did this radio program, and they made it so real that everybody thought that we were really being attacked by ships. And but it's been all like practicing. And he said in 2024 they were going to do this. That is so weird. How does something fly through there and not fly past me that I can see it? That is so weird. But so anyways, he is going to, he said in 2024 they were going to do Project Bluebeam on us. And they were going to start this war with the aliens. And he said, but they were going to use their military to attack us. And so, but we all, I mean, you know, the people who have heard about that, we already knew that they were making that plan. We just haven't seen it come out yet. And he said their plan was to do it in 2024, so now it's 2025. And we have a lot leading into, you know, what's going around in the sky and stuff. And they can't spray, because they can't spray sideways. I mean, like cats or something. They got to go up and spray, even though it's like, man, things are weird in the sky. But this Nibiru thing is a little too low. It's so low. And so in some places, it's in different places, because I'm telling you, we're in different like realms. It's the thing that keeps us in the same is the vibration of the place. And so but all the different realities have been really toxic, but things are turning. Things are in different places are starting to get better, and it is, you create your reality, and so you can create it into a positive thing. And it has to do with looking at the things that you like, being happy, looking at life through, you know, seeing the things that you like, and stop focusing on the things you don't like. Because the things that you don't like keep you in the vibration of you don't like it, so it keeps you in a place you don't want to be. So you got to change your focus. It's like changing the channels. It's like changing the radio station and go into the happier station. Get out of the glums and the dull glums or whatever. You were just down and miserable and just looking at everything sucks and that sucks and gee, because there's so many different ways you can look at things. Just like with that girl's experience, whatever it was. But if somebody does something, you can look at it, like, well, that's a lesson I'm learning here or something. Or you can get all caught up in whatever it is. And that's your prerogative. Like, you get to decide. But right now, in this evolution of us, that it is to take the the initiative, but also to take the determination to see it for yourself over where you put your energy, into the lower vibration or the higher vibration. And when you're putting it into the higher vibration, people can think you're crazy and kooky and stuff like that, because we're so prone to the lower vibration. Everybody feels like they don't deserve anything, and you step out of the box and say, well, I do, and everybody's like, oh, really? We are stuck. But there has to be some breakaways. There has to be some people that show, like, no, we deserve whatever we want. Just like, you got to go towards it, though. And when you're going towards it, it can seem like you're crazy. But you keep going, and you keep seeing what it is you want, and you keep, and I'm not saying, because we have got such a superficial vein in our society of people who just want to follow their desires and not like their purpose. Like, and that's where you got to get in touch with yourself and see, you know, why are you going towards this? What is it you're trying to do? And your purpose would be, I would say, more selfless. So if you're very self-indulgent in your desires, then I would say you're following your desires, and that may not necessarily be your purpose. But your desire, if you're following the wrong thing, it's going to keep putting you off. It's not like you have to keep going towards it. It's going to keep putting you off in a dramatic way. Like, you know, I got a brain injury. You'll get a bad car wreck and be stuck in the hospital. Like, you got to pay attention. And one thing where it will start, if you're going the wrong direction, you'll start stubbing your toes, say. You know, you'll try and pick something up and it will drop. Everything, it will keep pulling away from you. You'll keep getting hurt when you try and go in that direction. And if you just keep pounding and pounding, it's going to keep knocking you back. It's going to get more dramatic, you know, until you listen, until you see you're going in the wrong direction. And they're trying to push you to go in a different direction. So when you're following your purpose, to me, it's more selfless. It's more, you know, what do you, it's more in a bigger realm. You know, you're here to do work for the universe. What are you here to do? And you follow that and go in that direction. And that is where you want to start seeing, you know, how you, it's weird because it's like a transformation that happens. Because each person's gonna be different, but for me, it was, you know, at some point, it was like, I don't need all this. I can go and live in a tent on a beach. You know, right now, though, as the water's raising and all these horrible stuff, I'm lucky to be in this garage, so. But that was my theory behind, like, I don't need this bullshit. You know, I'm not going to be trapped in their slave world. I'll go, you know, I don't need all this. I could live more simply and live more beach bum or whatever. And so I was seeing that, but then as things go and you start healing and stuff and you start seeing, like, what, I don't know, the quantum theory or whatever, then in the focus on what it is that you like and stuff, well, then you start realizing, well, that's settling. That's not valuing myself very high. Like, oh, well, you can have a tent. Yeah, you're good. You can have a tent. Oh, and then it was like, well, you know, mobile home. Okay, well, and it was like, okay, well, yeah, you could have a mobile home. Yeah, if that's all you want, have a mobile home. And then it's like, oh, I could have more. Yeah, you can have whatever the fuck you want to have. You got to be putting it out there. You got to be picturing it and focusing on what it is you love and going towards it, even though you don't know, because the road to success, it's not lit as clearly. And so you have to go, it's the road of trust. And in a way, you're lighting it up with what it is that you want. And so, and then it's like you're doing the universe's work and you're showing them what the things that make you happy. So then they start bringing them into your world. And so, but then the people who are in the vibration of really low and stuff, they don't realize, like, they're bringing this stuff into themselves. They're bringing in this drama, these traumas, this not being able to get along with people and stuff, because you stay in that kind of mindset. You stay in that victim mentality, poor me, life sucks, everybody's out to get me, nobody's there for me. And then when you stop and you question those things, like, why do I think nobody's there for me? Like, does that really make logical sense? There's nobody in the world there for me. Is anybody there for anybody? I mean, you start really, like, playing it out in your mind and stuff. And then you start being like, well, really, nobody's there for anybody. Really, the only person that can be there is my own self. And how do you be there for your own self? You know, you have to have boundaries. You have to, it becomes more complex, you know. It's like the difference in, like, get the forks and plates for dinner or set the table in the, you know, the way that they set them, you know, where you got 2 forks, 3 spoons, 2, you know, they've got all this whole setting. So you are not just a fork and a plate kind of person. And so you have a lot of complexity to your your container, your table setting. And so you have to go in and, figure yourself out and develop yourself and not be held back, like, you only deserve a tent. But have gratitude for whatever it is you have. Be happy for the things you have. But um don't be like, this is all I've got. It sucks. Be like that lady. I'm so lucky that I have this. I'm so happy. But then don't sit there and keep thinking that's all you deserve. Start looking at the things that, you desire. Like, like where I started seeing that house, which those people are just living in it. But I know that doesn't mean I won't get a house like that. That doesn't mean I can't have a house like that on the lake with its own boat dog, a nice, But then say you really want a house on the lake and you're like, oh gosh, that's all that will make me happy. But say that in that house on the lake, you have kids and one of your kids goes out there and drowns and you don't want to go through that experience. So the universe doesn't give you a house on the lake. It gives you a house on a golf course. And so, so you could sit there and think, oh, well, that fucking universe, they're not very good, but you don't see what it is they're protecting you from. So no matter what it is, where they put you and stuff, you always got to have gratitude and see, like, I don't really understand the bigger purpose. I don't understand all the stuff going on, but I got to trust. I got to trust. And I learned that lesson was when I was going through all that bullshit when we moved up here to Washington State. And that's when I saw like the corporation LLCs in the show were taking over all of the rentals and buying up all the properties. And and it was so frustrating, every day we'd go out to look for a house and they wouldn't let us see any houses. They wouldn't let us put out offers. They wouldn't let us do anything. The investors bought it. The investors bought it. Every fucking day, the list would come out with the new listings. Oh, the investors bought them. Oh, they're all bought. Oh, that was so frustrating. I was so fucking pissed during that. But the one house that I went to, it was on Boone Lane, and it was in like a pretty bad neighborhood. But I thought the house was so cool. The style, I remember it was like a Tudor style or something, the round door. It was really, really so cute. So cool. There's lots of really old houses here. There's even a part in town where it's old Victorian houses, and they're really cool. And so anyways, I really liked this house. I was like, oh God, I want this house so bad. And it was like the door was like wood or something, like old, like how old barn wood or like, it was really cool, this house. And that was one, like a lot of the houses I looked at, I was like, fuck, let's just get it. Let's just get it. But this one was one I was like, oh God, I love this house. And then couldn't get it, I don't remember what happened, but there was extra drama around that one, it seemed. And so I was just like, cried. I was so upset. And then years later, then there was a big case that happened, and a couple doors down from my house, the house that I wanted, was a big perv, and he had been perving on all of the kids. There was a big thing that went on. And then I was like, oh, my little girl, see, I wanted that place, but the universe knew it wasn't the right place. The universe knew it wasn't a safe place. My own desires, my own thing. I didn't know. And so I wanted it. And then I was mad at the universe. They didn't give me what I wanted. But that's why we can't get too caught up in the stuff. Just keep putting it out, the things you want. And it will keep bringing them to you. But sometimes when it's not exactly the way you think or say, it's like there's a reason behind it. Just like, I'm choking on my snot. Like snot going down my throat. It's choking me. Because I'm still not coughing. And CC. So the thing is I was taking the Mullen tea for, I think a few years now. I've been taking the Mullen tea. And those of you, God dang it. I had this happen so many times when I was there. I don't know. It's like maybe the scar tissue on my throat is healing or something. It keeps doing something really weird. And it hurts. It hurts like when you swallow peppers. And, but in this part where the scar tissue is on my voice box and stuff, a lot of times it feels really raw and stuff. I don't know, maybe I've got the big P eating in my throat. But, you know, just got to keep fighting this shit. And I just saw a video. Oh, okay, so let me tell 2 of these things real quick. Okay, so I did the Mullen tea for a few years because that keeps your lungs clear. And then, but, and, you know, anybody who's watching me knows how much I coughed all the time at the other house. I coughed and coughed and coughed. And sometimes I'd have to stop recording because I'd start having a coughing fit. And so, or sometimes I would hurry and rush because I was about to have a coughing fit. I was holding it back, and then I would sit there and cough and cough and cough. And it was real deep and rattly. And, you know, there was people who would tell me, well, you've got too much mold and mildew in your house. You've got some sickness from that. And then when we did the bathroom and I saw how much mold and mildew was in there, then I was like, oh my gosh, I probably do have the mildew sickness. And then I started seeing all these videos where all these people have the mildew sickness, the mold sickness and stuff, and that they can't get rid of it. It's making them sicker and sicker. It's killing people and stuff. So then when I came here, and we, and my mom had seen about the CHDX, and so I, you know, all the things I was hearing about, I was like, hell yeah, I want to try this stuff. And then, you know, since we didn't know what the fuck we were doing and created a bomb instead, and it blew up in my face. And then I got a big dose of all that stuff. And then, yeah, it stopped the coughing. And then when I went and looked it up, at first it was like, Google was telling me you're gonna die, you know, forget about it, it's poison, you know, and all that. I was like, oh my God, I can't look at this because it goes into your head and then you start thinking like, I'm gonna die, and you don't want to be putting that energy into that. So I just like, I'm not gonna give the energy, I'm not gonna look into that stuff. And so I had even told my mom, well, like, that's what's saying, I'm not looking at any more of this stuff. Whatever happens, happens. And so she, but at some point she started looking, but it was like a week and a half later or something. And then she started saying, oh my God, that was so good. There was so much good stuff. Don't even worry. You're not going to die. It's like, well, I thought I would have died sooner. But, anyways, so then, but I did see when I was looking, and it was saying all that about the death, death, death. When I got to the one that said it kills mold and mildew, that is where I stopped. That's where I was like, oh, I just all of a sudden it was like, oh, and then since then, yeah, I haven't been coughing at all. I mean, I just choked, but that wasn't coughing like the coughing that I was doing. I don't have all that gunk in my lungs like that anymore. So, so I don't know. You know, maybe there's some spores down there and it will come back, and I'll have to do more. But I'm getting that stuff this next Monday. I get paid, so I'm gonna get some more of that, and I'm gonna start doing it every day. And if you go up to 15 drops, and you gotta go slowly because it's very detox. It gets all the toxins out of you, and it can give you diarrhea, I guess, apparently. But if you get up to 15 drops a day, it's anti-aging, and it's something about it being an oxidant or something, and you can't do an antioxidant. So there's things to know about it, like, but there's lots of alternative doctors and stuff talking about a lot of this stuff. But the other video that I was going to say that was the aha was this girl, and she had, and Amy sent it to me, and she had brain cancer, a different type than my brother, different bug than my brother. And so she has little kids, and so when she went and they told her she had a tumor and stuff. They did radiation, which now she's bald here. So radiation, all the stuff they do to us is fuckery. And so she got that, and I think they couldn't. She just did the CHEMO, and so, but she did it she was on. They said for a year. And she said she made it to 8 months, and they did another scan, and it had doubled or something. There was a new one. And so then when they said, well, let's do more of that, she's like, nope, I'm not doing it. And she said it made her way too sick, and so they gave her a year to live. And she said once they gave her a year to live, you know, and once she went through the process of grief and all that, that she said that she decided she was going to start looking up what people were doing who were living. And so go the alternative, the natural route. Go look up and see what's working for people. And so that's what she did. And she said, so she spent a lot of time just looking up. And she started seeing constants, these certain things that kept being constant in people's journey. So she decided to start trying them. And now hers is so shrunk that the doctor said they don't even know how to explain it, because she's not been on any of their stuff. She's just doing, the big one is black seed oil. I do that every day. I do 5 squirts, and I swear to God, it's healing my eyes. Even the other day when I was driving in the dark, I could see. I had some cars come to me, and the lights were coming to me. But though in Texas, they had so many different reflections and so many different lights, it was way harder to see. I don't know. I swear to God, there's just fuckery. But when it was like, I drove all the way through town and stuff, and I could see. And even when I left my aunt's the other day, and it was getting dark, I could see. And so I keep thinking my eyes just keep improving and improving. I'm seeing people putting on their readers and all that stuff, and I'm not having to do any of that. my sight keeps getting clearer and clearer. And I did have some breakout things when I was there. Like this thing went crazy, and I had some other stuff. And so I don't know, the inflammations, I would say, like these inflammations that happen. It could have been like the other chemicals, but it could have been also because I wasn't doing my daily, like putting it on there. I didn't take my black seed oil. I didn't take aloe vera with me. So there's some stuff I didn't take. I didn't take all my vitamins or anything. I took, I didn't take any of that stuff. None. No copper water, none of it. I was drinking fucking probably fluoride chlorinated Dallas water. But anyways, so she takes 5, and hers, she takes the pills. My mom has the pills. And, but some people think that gives them diarrhea, but I would say that's clearing out the toxins. So go slower, like what it says on that CHDX, because that's what they say. The diarrhea is clearing out the toxins. You want to clear them out. Don't try and stop the diarrhea when you have the diarrhea, because then you're holding the toxins inside you. So let the diarrhea occur and get the stuff out. But if it makes you uncomfortable, then cut back on what it is you're taking. Don't take as much. So, but this girl, she takes 5. And then there's some other vitamins too. She said she takes garlic and another one, but she has a whole list. So if somebody wants, she has a whole TikTok shop of all the different ones. But, there's a bunch of stuff that's out there that people are living and saving them. And it's natural. I mean, black seed oil, and then, because hers, I guess she got 2022 is when she got diagnosed or something. 2023 was when, I think later in 2023 is when she started going on the natural stuff. So, like, she said it's been like about a year that she's been doing this stuff, and now her tumor is, it's shrunk. I don't remember how much it was, like, went from a 3 centimeter to a 0.5 or something. So anyways, it shrunk significantly, and the doctors don't know how to explain it. But it's because the doctors aren't taught right, and we keep going and trusting them, and they just follow along protocols and what they're told and shit. They're mindless. I saw a video the other day of the girl, and she was obviously in the hospital. She had, she had all sorts of stuff. And, I mean, medical stuff, not stuff. I mean, she could have had some face piercings, but, like she had oxygen in her nose. It seemed like she had feet. There was something else, like taped to her face or something. Anyways, but she was in the hospital, and she was crying, and she was saying, don't go to the doctors and stuff. They don't know. Basically saying if they're not awake enough, if there's continuing to be doctors and they're not awake enough, it's showing. She said, whatever was happening for her, it was bad, and it was quite clear that the doctors don't have a clue what's going on, and they're not awake, and and then people keep getting so angry too. So doctors yelling at patients, I'm the doctor, you do what I say because I'm the doctor, which I have had a doctor say that with me before. And it's like, get your fucking ass, your ego, fucking, these people, like, they try and tell us not to listen to ourselves, and then don't argue with them and shit. Like, fuck off. Egomaniac. But anyways, all your personality disorders are going to keep coming out more hot and clear. And these doctors, they don't want to look at themselves, and so, and they don't know what the fuck. And yeah, we're going to go towards natural stuff because it doesn't hurt us. It doesn't break other parts of us while it's supposedly fixing something. But this is something I was telling my daughter. And I try and tell a lot of people because I'm constantly telling this to people because they don't, I don't know, they don't think of it or whatever. But so many people want the quick fix, want the Western med, want, just give it to me, doc, and let's go. I got to get to work. And so but what goes on is, so you have an issue, and instead of going and fixing the issue, because there's something in your environment, in your diet, in your existence that's creating it. And instead of going in and figuring out what's causing this issue, you go and get their Band-Aid. And their Band-Aid holds stuff in and creates a festering. So it makes you sicker because it starts causing more problems with other parts of you. So it's the wrong way to go. The way, when you start having an issue, is to try and figure out, well, what would cause this issue? What do I need to change in my lifestyle or in my consumption that would create to stop this from happening? Instead of doing it, continuing to do it, and then keep trying to take something to counteract it that's only causing more problems inside of you, but people aren't seeing that. Because it's like this indoctrination, science is saving you. Well, it's not doing shit. And then when you keep doing the same thing and you're taking something, it's like, no, you're creating a hostile work environment inside your body. So you got to stop. And when you see something's not going right, try and figure it out. Like, what's causing this? What causes weight gain? What causes pimples? What causes, and start trying to figure out like what it is, not just go and get on something. And so anyways, that this is the shift though, where we start seeing, the counterproductive stuff that they offer us, and we got to go towards the simple life because the simple life is, all we need. And so, yeah, black seed oil's like $15. In order, I have a push button thing. I don't know why I started doing the squeeze, I put one of those things in it. Maybe because when I first got it, well, it's so horrible tasting when I first did it. And like Debbie had told me before, is it doesn't taste so bad after you've been doing it a long time. When you first start, it's heinous. And so my other oils, so I don't know if I had decided for a while, because I've had the black seed oil for a long time, and I don't know if it was that I was going to use it on my skin or whatever, but anyways, I have that. So I just do 5 squirts in my mouth, which I don't know how many pills that would add up to, 5 milligrams or whatever. But anyways, if you get the pills, I think she said she does like 5,000 milligrams a day. So I don't know. I think there's a bug over there on that wall. Fucking probably one of those spiders, because I've been vacuuming all the fucking spider baby white little, yeah, that's a fucking spider or something. It's bug time. I really want a house, but universe has a plan. I'm just gonna go with the flow. Just bugs, and I keep getting bit. I really want to go over there and see what the hell that is. And there's always crickets. Like scoop those up. I keep wondering, what do crickets see? I'm gonna look it up. What is this thing? It's really big. there was something the other day over there too, up on that thing. So it must be, Charlotte's Web or something. It must be some big spiders living over there, laying a lot of eggs or making a lot of babies or something. Oh, God. I was like, what is that sound? Belle, she's over there, the little tiny dog, she's over there in one of those beds. She's itching herself. I was like, what is that now? Is there something over there? But it's her. So, anyways, it's funny because you know your own sounds. You know your own sounds like your dogs make and stuff like that. Any sound that you haven't heard before, it's like, wait, what's that? Which, I was talking about this with my mom the other day because, so many people who, and I've talked about this before, but I was talking about with my mom, so I was saying, because so many people who are strange or unusual looking and people stare at them and they feel so bad, people stare and it's hard not to look at somebody who looks different or unusual. But that's the trippy thing is that the reason we're looking is because it's interesting. It's interesting to look at something that's different or unusual. And that's, they're taking us into everybody looks the same. It's a generic world. And the more unusual that people are, the more, the more interesting they are. So it's more interesting to look at the people. It's not out of like, oh, they're hideous. If they were hideous, we would not look. But we look because they're interesting. So if the people could start seeing themselves as being like special and interesting, and if, the more people that look at me, the more interesting I must be. Instead of like, I'm so hideous, everybody's staring. It's like, I'm telling you, if you were that hideous, nobody would be looking. We'd all be scared. Like if you see somebody, like I'm picturing, like in the movie Wrong Turn, or I think there's been a few of these movies where they have these inbred kind of creature people who live out in the middle of nowhere and got eyeball over here and eyeball over here and all those weird mutations and shit. Like somebody like that, like, is more scary to us. But I think, but those are extreme. But, I mean, because I know that there's people who have facial mutation and stuff, and so that they could think, well, well, I have two different eyes in two different places. But that doesn't mean that you're as extreme looking. I think even if you see some of these people in person, it's more of interesting looking than it is scary. But I'm just saying, if you are really scary looking, like, and hideous, nobody would be looking. Everybody would be running from you, not staring at you. So, anyways, but the people have just got to start seeing the specialness to their interesting face, like it's interesting, it's, the kind of thing where an artist would enjoy, like, these are different lines, this is different balance, it's different. And anything different and unique and is special. So we got to start, really. I think people are going to start trying to be more finding something unique about them, trying to represent themselves, being more unique. I think that we've been going in that way for a while. I think that's why so many people started going so extreme. They're trying to be more unique. They don't want to just be generic. And speaking of that, I just saw this girl. Okay, so we'll be wrapping it up here. So I just saw this girl, and she was extreme. Fuck, man. It just tattoo. I don't know if she had any skin left that wasn't tattooed. On her face, there was a little bit of skin left, but most of her face was tattooed. A lot of those people who do a lot of that stuff too, they do a lot of blackout tattoos. But I have a tattoo that had a lot, it was like lace and stuff, and now it's just the black starts closing in, so it starts becoming more and more like a black tattoo, which, fuck, when you go out and lay out, the sun and the ink are not in love, I'll tell you that. And it's like, it's triggering. I would say there's some kind of heavy metal or something. It heats up from the sun. Like there's some kind of weird interaction. So anyways, and sometimes I have to go in just because it's like doing something weird. But anyways, so she had gone to the extreme point where she, I've seen, she did do some weird stuff to her face. I don't remember if she cut off her nose. I've seen somebody who did this, and they cut off their nose and just had the holes. And then they'll do weird shit, man. They do so much weird shit. It's like, God, some people go extreme to be unique. And then the people who are born unique, they feel like they're not good enough because they're not the beauty standard. And the people that are beauty standard, like, everything is lessons. But anyways, so she had gotten, I guess, she had tattooed one eye black. I don't understand this one to look like a demon all the time. But maybe they come from a world where they all look real weird. And to us, you know, but they wouldn't look weird to themselves. But they are not comfortable just looking like everybody else. So she had one eye blacked in, but then I guess she went to get the other one, and I'm not sure. I was confused. Was she trying to black it in and it turned yellow? But now she's in the hospital and she's going blind or something, which I don't understand this tattoo. Even as a tattooist, there's no fucking way I'm not tattooing your eye. You come in and ask me to tattoo your eyeball, hell to the no. No, I'm not. No. I'm not Dr. Frankenstein. Yeah, let's try it. No, fuck that. I don't give a shit how many people are doing it. Fuck that. I'm not being a part of somebody's blindness and shit. And fucking make a mistake. Oh, fuck that. So, Belle, what are you doing? Come here. Then, come right here. Just right there. Come on. So then, this little pocket dog. So then, but her eye is like iridescent yellow and it's like leaking out. Oh, God. And I guess she's going blind or something. I don't know. If she's just telling people, like, don't do it. I think maybe I was on the airplane and I couldn't hear it well or something. I don't know. But anyways, whatever, I saw it over the days while I was in Dallas. I was like, oh, my God. That is heinous. Oh, ugh. There was one video, too, where it was somebody who's their eye all of a sudden, like, puffed up and came out. Like, there's all sorts of weird shit going on. If your eye puffing up and coming out, I would say the universe or your body is trying to tell you you're not looking at something. You're not paying attention to something. So, anyways, you gotta just really start looking at the signs, reading the signs. But I'm real excited that the signs are saying we got a Freedom City going up. In the Freedom Cities, from what it seems to me, it seems that it's, if they're going to charge anything for land or anything, it's going to be really cheap. I think it's going to be free. Especially this billionaire bought the land and now he's going to let everybody live there. These people are like, well, he wants to be our ruler. We're going to be his people or something. And they're, oh, no, I'm not doing that. No, that's not what's going on here. We're going into sovereignty and freedom. We're not going into, you know, being under someone's control. We're breaking free from control. And but there's a whole bunch of things that have to be seen, and there's catalysts and things because we're so misdirected, so we got to see for ourselves. And so all these weird shit has to keep playing out. But anyways, so as far as what I can see or understand, the Freedom Cities, we would have free land and free resources. That when houses, there's gonna be something about if you get an old house and fix it and stuff, that it would be, it's not going to be taxes or something. Like, you don't have to pay taxes except for on new things. And houses are going to be super, super cheap. So even if you decided you were going to land and you were going to build a house and you had to pay more, it's going to still be real cheap. So even if you have to go buy building supplies or whatever, or if you hire someone, and that's where people are going to start making a lot of money, having skills, because there's going to be so much craftsmanship. Like, my daughter was even saying the other day when we were there, she was talking about, you know, clothes and this doesn't fit right and that doesn't fit right. I said, yeah, nobody, like, who has a rack body? They can just get everything off and it's going to fit perfect. You know, I'm constantly having to take things in, move things, you know, and stuff like that. And I still think we're going to go back to where we go to seamstress and have clothes made to fit us. We're not just buying these slave-made clothes that are just made in mass and we're trying to fit in them. It's going to be more, we're going to have clothes like the colors we want, the designs we want, picking our own fabric, having it fit to our own, you know, like I don't have to have sleeves that are too short anymore. And so, anyways, that's where I think we're going as, and the people who are like seamstresses and craftsmen and cabinet makers and stuff, they're gonna all start doing, being specialized things that they're gonna start really making money where they weren't making a lot because they were in competition with the corporation slave trade. But now it's gonna turn and we're gonna want higher quality, better made things and stuff. And so stuff is gonna start benefiting the people who have been out there, going in that direction. So but as far as what I understand, it would be the resources. We won't be paying for resources. We're going to be paying for things that are given to us by God and earth or whatever. And where these controllers have decided to harness energy and sell it to us and stuff. So it's going to go different. And things are going to be different. And then I'm sure in the freedom cities will be the first ones popping off with hover cars and portals. Like, you can travel through this portal and get to this freedom city in just 5 minutes. Who knows how it's going to all go down. It's going to depend on like how resistant everybody, the group of resistors and what they have to play out to see. But those of us who see, we can jump on board at any time and be living the high life, be living the life that we want to live. So the rest of the people can be living in hell and we can be living in heaven. So it's our choice. But anyway, so yeah, I'm excited that the first Freedom City, even though it's pretty far, like no way am I going to go over to DC, where I was even thinking, I wonder if that could be that they are going to, the DC thing, because I thought it was going to be different than that. So I wonder if this is just to bring attention so more things can play out. Bill, what are you doing? Anyways, I should get going, go handle her. Maybe she's got to go take a little tiny poop or something. But I think that she just goes wherever she wants. I don't think she worries too much about if she's outside. She's one of those dogs. Maybe just go pee. I swear to God, she'll pee wherever. I think it's one paper towel pee size. So if Stella were to pee in the house, it'd be like a couple towels, please. So anyways, let's just look at my hair because that's what we do, is watch to see what's working and what's not working, what's real and what's not real. My tooth. And I have been putting the aloe vera and castor oil on this. I was putting castor oil on it there. I did take my castor oil. And, but it wasn't as efficient. Like, it was still breaking out, whatever was going. And it's still a scab thing. Because remember, recently I was like, man, it seems like it's going away. But there's still, it has these breakout things. So, whatever little botulism cancer thing I got going here, it still continues. But I'm going to do the CHDX, and I do the black seed oil all the time. And so the black seed oil, it does something where it kills cancer. So that was what I'm saying. So, anyways, you get what I'm talking about. So, anyways, there's tons of stuff out there. And if you are one of the people who's out looking for information, Google is not your friend. And if you want to look for a platform that has less censorship, Rumble, there's other ones, I think, there's a few out there that supposedly have less censorship. And that's where you're going to find more alternative information. And that's where you're going to find the doctors, too, who are giving alternative information. So, anyways, but, just remember, it's pretty basic, really, what we're doing here, Because you think learning how to love yourself should be simple, but it's not. It's complex. It's deep-seated. So, but learning how to love yourself, learning how to love everybody else, and learning how to have the day you want, because it depends on how you focus your energy. So, anyways, but we'll talk about it again tomorrow. So, I'll talk to you later. Bye.